Hello, everyone. Today I've got a story you might have heard about. It's been in the news quite a bit this week about a new killer virus that's been developed. Uh, and of course, this is another instance of the media sensationalizing what is actually a fairly big story, but not quite the story they were making it out to be. There were a lot of headlines about a new killer virus based on the H1N1. Um, Actually, more specifically, it's the H5N1 bird flu. I'm sure you all remember the bird flu from a little while ago, the big craze that never really developed into anything too dangerous, which we should all be grateful for, but it could have. And the concern was, and people will always point and sort of laugh and say, those silly scientists, but this story actually relates to why nothing happened and what we could do if something had happened. The center of this story are two scientists. There's Yoshihira Kawaoka of University of Wisconsin-Madison and Ron Fouchier of Erasmus University, which is in the Netherlands. They both had papers that were studying the H5N1 virus and whether or not it could be transmitted to mammals, as it largely impacts upon birds. And what was going on was the National Science Advisory Board for Biosecurity, uh, the NSABB, of course. I'm sure you all know of them. What they did was they prevented the research that had already been done last year manufacturing new strains of this virus. They prevented that research from being published back in December of 2011. Now, the big controversy was the fact that this had never been done before, for one thing, but the idea that this information could get out and the studies could be replicated and these viruses could be manufactured by who knows who, although terrorists was the number one concern, naturally. Now, an important thing to know is these studies were already done, so the concern over the past week of these new viruses, they're not quite that new. They've been around for months. The studies were done last year. And more importantly, they aren't exactly killer viruses. They were actually attempts to see if the H5N1 virus could evolve to a more infectious strain that would affect human beings. As it stands, it's not terribly infectious. And that was actually the concern when that flu popped up. The major concern was that what if this virus mutates and can suddenly infect human beings? We could have a huge pandemic. That didn't happen, of course. But what these studies were doing to see is if it could have happened. It was theorized if it could, and what they did was try to recreate the natural selection pressures and mutations that would create a strain of the virus that could get inside mammals. They experimented on ferrets, and in Yoshihiro Kawaoka's paper, what was found was that they're through relatively natural processes that were simulated in the lab, that could happen. They went through millions of mutations, and there was one in particular that was easily transmittable between ferrets, and it wasn't particularly lethal, but it did show that it could move from birds to mammals. And Ron Fauchier's research does something similar. It's hard to say exactly because that paper actually hasn't been published yet. It's still sort of going through the process of being released. And to me, there are really two major issues in this story. One, the idea of scientific freedom to publish findings publicly. And second, whether or not scientists should be manufacturing more lethal or potentially more lethal viruses in a lab. The first one seems simple to me. I'm something of a free speech absolutist. I think When scientific research is done, it should be shared with everyone, and there should be no censorship placed upon it. The idea that this information will get out into the wrong hands, that is a concern, but at the same time, it's far more likely to end up in the hands of other scientists who can, for instance, work on finding cures for these diseases. I mean, a misconception is this isn't Dr. Doom in his lab creating a virus to destroy mankind. These are scientists trying to replicate natural processes. So if these viruses evolve in a certain way over time, we'll know what's coming, rather than sitting here waiting for something to happen, waiting for nature to do what it'll do. We can take a proactive approach and be ready for the next mutation, so to speak, that could really impact upon our lives. So, being able to share this information is crucial, because you can't count on a single small group of trustworthy scientists to figure it all out. You need the entire scientific community working on this, and the fear of terrorists somehow obtaining this information and manufacturing bioweapons. I'm not terribly convinced by that. We're talking about the same group that uses underwear bombs, and well, they're not terribly advanced. I mean, I was just reading the letters that Osama bin Laden had written that were released by the U.S. government, and they were a small fraction of the documents that were found, but they did not demonstrate as a group that was terribly scientifically savvy. It seemed to be a group sort of in disarray. Now, there could be a group out there of bioterrorists who have access to very high-end, state-of-the-art labs. I've never heard of them, and I think it's a bit silly to be afraid of a group that may not even exist. If they do, of course, this opens the question again, but until that's the case, I think it'd be better to share this information among scientists so we can work on ways to deal with these viruses. And an important note, this gets passed over, I should say, by many reports, that in Dr. Kawaoka's research, the viruses that were sort of created in the lab, they actually respond to certain vaccines, and a prototype vaccine we have. So we actually may already have a cure for this one right off the bat. I shouldn't say cure, it's a vaccine, which is a little different, but nonetheless, if we, which makes it even more absurd to worry if it'll fall into the hands of terrorists, because we have basically a way of fighting back already. So they're not quite as nefarious as they seem. Now, the second issue. This one is a lot more complicated and a lot tougher to weigh in on, and I honestly am not sure of where to take a stance on this, and that is whether or not we should be trying to manufacture these viruses in the first place. Before I did imply the fact that if we replicate them now in the lab, we may be able to anticipate what could naturally show up, so it seems as though we should definitely do this, but there have been instances in the past where these viruses have gotten out of the lab. And what's more, since we're relying on the mutations to create these new viral strains, we don't necessarily know what's going to happen, what's going to be created next. Nature has created some truly amazing things, and I mean, we just don't know what will happen. It's highly doubtful some insanely powerful, unkillable virus will come out of this. Mutations don't happen so radically. They're very gradual. Evolution isn't a very fast process. I'm sure you all know. But nonetheless, it's a little worrying to know that there are there are actually no regulations to stop this. This whole brouhaha was whether or not these findings should be published, but it had nothing to do with whether or not these experiments should be happening to begin with. And as far as I know, I'm not the most well-read on molecular biology, but there aren't too many safeguards to stop it from happening now. Perhaps there shouldn't be, in the sense that we shouldn't limit ourselves, but at the same time, the ethics involved are very complicated, and when you're manufacturing or creating the conditions which could create a new life form that could possibly damage human life on Earth, it's a difficult call to make, and it's one that I think it's an ethical debate that I hope is, well, I'm sure is happening, and I'd like to see continue happening. And I just hope we can somehow come to a positive conclusion that will allow science to continue its pursuit without endangering human lives. That's really all I have to say about that for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and also please check out other videos on the TYT Science playlist. I really appreciate everyone watching mine, but a few of my other fellow science lovers and scientists, I should say, are out there doing making some great stuff, so check their work out as well. Thank you so much for watching again, and of course, love science.